So Romance Dawn, starting at the very beginning. We've got just a brief. I'm going to do a brief. We'll alternate brief synopses of what it is, and then also we'll
You
talk
might be
about the
doing the
ranking.
most of that, my friend.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Whatever. Romance Dawn is the introduction of Luffy, Kobe, Zoro, Axehand Morgan, Helmeppo, Alvida. It's the introduction to One Piece. It's the introduction to Zoro's backstory, to Luffy's backstory, to um, the first to One Piece. It's everything. You see Shanks, you see Axehand Morgan, you see Onigiri, you see like all the stuff. So this is right now is the best arc in One Piece because it's the only arc that exists in One Piece. It has to be the best, but it's also the worst. Um, so Orangetown. We'll go synopses and then ranking.
Okay.
Orangetown is Buggy's introduction. It's Nami's introduction. It is Choo Choo the dog. You have the first time that we're talking about inherited will, which is a major theme in One Piece. So yeah, okay. So with all that being said, Jarrell, where would we? And this is also a mutual ranking. This is me and Jarrell deciding what we're going to agree upon is the ranking for us together for all these arcs. So Jarrell, where does Orangetown rank? Is it number one or is it number two? Is it the best or is it the worst?
I think at this point in One Piece, Orange Town ranks number one.
Okay.
I think it is a even stronger start to a beginning of a story. We're introducing more characters. We're learning more about the world. We're really getting to know how our main characters operate while including to throw on new characters and new themes. We are fighting bigger villains. There are higher stakes. I just think that Orange Town is a little bit better than Romance Dawn in that regard.
I mean, that's totally fair. I mean, it's got Buggy, so like that's totally fun.
It's really fun.
It was really fun. Okay, Steer Village, aka One Piece Killer. Oda put in a little speed bump in his story that otherwise than that is smooth sailing. But you get to Orange Town, you get to Sir Village, and you're like, oh, this is I don't know about this. Sir Village is the introduction of Usopp. It's the introduction of the idea that Yasop, this character that we met in Romance Dawn, is Usopp's dad. You have the Going Merry. You have Kaya. You have Usopp's lies. You have Captain Kuro, um, and the Kuro Pirates or whatever they're called, the Cat Pirates or whatever. Overall, I'm gonna take a leap and say that this is the worst arc in One Piece. Full
I'm
stop.
going to agree full stop. I don't know how far this video is going to make it, but once upon a time, I was also a One Piece hater. Let me just say that to this day, One Piece is one of the greatest stories I have ever watched and or read.
Ayo.
If you can make it past Syrup Village, then you're golden. You can make it past anything.
Like I said, smooth sailing from here on out, but up until that point, you know, it
And that's
is
not even to say that Syrup Village is inherently bad. It just happens to be the worst one and the one that the most people fall off of.
I
There are
liked it
some
and
pretty
I
okay
fell off.
moments.
I liked it and I fell off of One Piece for like 8 months. So like, it is kind of like I don't know about all that. I will say that
It
the live action somehow makes it better and also makes it worse at the same time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyways, neither here nor there. Baratier,
If you have to choose any arc to skip, skip Syrup Village.
yeah, don't skip Skypiea, skip Sierra Village. Um, so Baratier, this is where Oda says, "Oh my gosh, I forgot I can cook." In the chef arc, so you have the Baratier, which is a floating restaurant in the East Blue. You have the introduction of Sanji. You have the introduction of Dracula Mihawk, aka the strongest warlord in the world. You have Zoro versus Mihawk. You have Jing with Sanji choosing to feed Jing. You have Nami leaving. You have Don Krieg. You have Sanji's backstory with Zeph. You have Luffy
You also get
recruiting
Zeph's backstory.
Zeph's backstory. You have the All Blue. All that being said, Jarrell, where are we placing Baratier?
I think that at this point in One Piece, Baratier is the King of Kings. Top tier, number one.
I am inclined to agree. We're gonna agree until we get to like here, somewhere here.
I have a feeling,
I
yeah,
have a feeling
pretty
we're gonna
much.
start to disagree here and then here definitely. So like post time skip, like is where we're
Post time
gonna
skip, Grant and myself have a slightly different views on things ever
yes.
since.
So we'll explain and we'll see. Arlong Park. Just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Arlong Park goes right there.
Arlong Park is
Uh,
kind of the best thing.
Arlong Park is the best that One Piece in some ways ever can be because it achieves everything that One Piece is able to achieve, and it achieves it to the ultimate degree that it possibly can at that time. By the way, this is nothing but One Piece praise this entire video, so like fully expect that for the rest of it. You have Nami's backstory, you have Arlong, you have Hachi, you have Zoro versus Hachi, you have Usopp's first fight, you have um, Sanji versus flippin' the One Shark McGee, you have Luffy fighting Arlong, you have all the entire story about Belmare and Nojiko and
Yashi
Nami,
Village.
Kokiyashi Village, and all of that culminating in like this big triumphant moment at Arlong Park. And
I
it's
would
peak. Like
also
it's so
say
sick. Like
I would also say this is the first instance in One Piece we get to the rampant problem of racial struggle in One Piece, and we see it actually through the opposite lens the first time around.
yeah, that's true. You get that
And
interesting, like not a rudimentary, but a more simple look at the racism in One Piece. But we get it from the opposite side, which is
and
not normal.
which is normal. And the glorious thing about this, if you like, once we get to this point in One Piece, we just think, dang, Arlong's a bad guy, which he is a bad guy. But seeing the state of the world on a bigger scale later in the series really puts everything into perspective.
That's another great point about this ranking is that we're ranking it kind of in the moment, but we're also including future information that's going to apply what we think about an arc overall. So like with an arc coming up, Reverse Mountain. Reverse Mountain is going to be elevated because of Thriller Bark, because of all the things that ties back into later down the line. So yeah, so that's just like if we tried to reorder things in the moment, it would this video would be 4 hours long, so we're not going to do that. But yeah, Arlong Park peak, Logue Town. Logue Town is the island where Roger died. It is the last entry in the East Blue to the Grand Line. It is like a 5 chapter lore arc where Luffy almost gets killed by Buggy. A lightning strike miraculously saves Luffy. This guy named Dragon shows up. There's this guy named Captain Smoker, um, who has like a Logia devil fruit that's like a smoke fruit. And he also smokes 2 cigars, so he's really leaning into the whole shtick. Usopp gets cool glasses. Sanji Azoro gets 2 swords. He gets 2 new swords because his 2 swords broke fighting Mihawk. Now he has the Wano Ichimonji. He's got the Sandai Kitetsu, a cursed blade, and then he has a third blade that I can't remember. So Logetown. So where does it go?
So Loketown is a tough one because later in the series there are a bunch of callbacks to what Loketown is and what Loketown came to be. In the moment, it's more of a setup for what follows, but like I just said, the callbacks are kind of incredible because of how the actual arc plays out in the moments. I don't know if me personally I could rate it above Arlong or Baratier, so I would put it at a solid number three.
It's down to go. It's bound to go down, but I like it at number 3 right now. Um, okay. Reverse Mountain. This is the entrance into the Grand Line. This is meeting Crocus and Laboon. This is meeting Miss Wednesday and Mr. Seven. This is the entering into the idea of log poses and eternal poses. This is introduction to the idea that we have to get to a specific island to find the One Piece called Raftel. I personally would rate it just below Orangetown. Where would you rate it, Jarrell?
Just below Orangetown. I
Yes.
would put it slightly above Orangetown just because of meeting Laboon and meeting Miss Wednesday.
Okay. I would say that that is a fair. I would say that's fair. I my thing is that Orangetown's like a real arc with like real emotional
Reverse
stakes,
Mountain is very short.
and Reverse Mountain is like a more of a setup for the entirety of this of the Baroque Works Alabasta saga than it is an actual arc that has a beginning, middle, and end with themes and specific ideas that it's touching upon and executing.
That's fair.
So where are we putting it? Are
I,
we putting it above
I
or
well,
below?
let's just put it below
Okay.
Orangetown.
Okay.
Let's put it below Orangetown.
Okay. Whiskey Peak. Whiskey Peak is the first one of the first islands. So when you go to Reverse Mountain, you have like four different directions you can possibly choose on the Grand Line. So any path is going to take you to a different set of islands. So they chose to go to Whiskey Peak because that's where Miss Wednesday and Mr. Seven were going to. Whiskey Peak is apparently this giant party island that's like dedicated to welcoming in pirates on the Grand Line. But secretly, it is a housing for Baroque Works, this secret shady organization that wants to do shady stuff on the Grand Line. And so the Straw Hat Pirates go to Whiskey Peak. They all get really drunk. Some of them do, some of them don't, and they end up almost getting captured, but luckily Zoro and Nami are smart enough to recognize that. This is the first time that Luffy fails the vibe check and thinks that Zoro hurt people and tries to attack Zoro because they hurt people that fed him. It's the only time in the world that Luffy's ever failed a vibe check. Uh, in a way that isn't funny, in a way that's just annoying. Um, This is the introduction of Mr. Zero, aka Sir Crocodile. This is the introduction of Princess Vivi. This is the introduction of Miss All Sunday. This is the introduction of the first fake out death in One Piece. Um, where are you looking to place this arc, Jarrell? Because I think I know where I want to place it.
I would place Whiskey Peak. I'm either going above or below Reverse Mountain.
I was thinking above or below Romance Dawn, so I think should
Let's
we
just
meet in the
put it below
middle?
Reverse. Yeah, let's meet in the middle. Below
Okay.
Reverse Mountain, above Romance Dawn.
Okay, there it is.
The reason why Whiskey Peak, I think, is so lackluster is because it almost feels like for a split second, half of the Straw Hats lose their identities, mainly in the form of Luffy.
Yeah.
I would say also partially in the form of Zoro because Zoro normally just is big bonk man. Um, the fact that he was able to salute out all of that stuff was cool, but like it didn't really fit his character in my opinion.
That's
And
true.
whereas Luffy immediately thought that Zoro was trying to kill people, uh, never happens again. Glad it doesn't. It was pretty bad. Uh, just a gripe that I have. So I just yeah wasn't a good time.
Otis says it's very difficult to write uh for Luffy because Luffy lacks an internal monologue. So there's no thought process about Luffy. It's just like the readers know Luffy's vibe and the decisions Luffy would make. They know that inherently. So any decision he has Luffy make has to fit that vibe check, has to pass that vibe check. And he's really only failed that vibe check once, and it was 25 years ago. So I think that's a pretty good streak.
I would say that's a really good streak.
Little Garden. This is the introduction of Mr. 3. This is the introduction of Dory and Brogy. This is the introduction of Giants of Elbath. This is the introduction of the idea of Usopp's dream to become a great warrior of the sea, following in the steps of Elbath warriors. and this is where they get the eternal pose that sends them directly to Alabasta. Um, that being said, where do you think it ranks, Jarrell?
I think that Little Garden ranks above Logtown.
Looking at this list, I am inclined to agree with you.
It doesn't quite hit Baratier or Arlong Park levels. However, it does low diff everything else that's below it. So I think it sits comfortably at number three.
Yeah. Drum Island. So I wonder what we're going to think about this. Drum Island is the introduction of Chopper, Dr. Hiralook, Dr. Kureha. It's the introduction of Wapole. It's the introduction of flippin' uh, Guy McGee. That's a flippin' bloody Zoan Devil Fruit. It's the introduction of this guy named Blackbeard that apparently this guy Ace is chasing. It's the introduction of the Will of D, the idea that Roger's name is not Gold Roger, but Gold D Roger. It's the introduction of Luffy once again getting another crewmate, inherited will, respect for the dead. It's Dr. Hiralook's speech. It is the giant snow bunnies that are like giant snow bunny bear things. It is. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so. It's been so long for me at
It's
this
been,
point.
yeah. Yeah. It's been a minute for me too.
So I'm also interested to see where we're both going to place this. Me personally, this one is one that I've been especially interested in because I don't super recall, but I might have ranked this one a little bit lower in the past. However, I've been thinking, and I think I'm going to put Drum Island right below Arlong Park,
Okay. I was thinking.
personally.
See, this is difficult. This is the first bit of difficulty. Um,
Would you like to hear my
yeah.
reasoning? Okay. So my reasoning is really just down to character moments. There are three really, really top tier ones I can think of. Four, actually, because I just thought of another one. That's happen throughout Drum Island that aren't just centered around the new member. Baratier is mainly a Sanji arc, with the exception of Zoro meeting Mihawk. Arlong is mainly a Nami arc, with the exception of Luffy, giving her the hat, showing her that he will do whatever it takes. Drum Island has Chopper's moment where he gets the human fruit. He does Chopper things. He does everything he can do to try and save Dr. Hiralook. You got Luffy single-handedly climbing up a mountain to save Nami and planting the flag for Chopper. You've got Vivi teaching Luffy for the first time that he can't just bonk everything and become a pirate captain. That moment was huge for Luffy's character, and he says he has carried that with him to this day.
I was about to mention that, yeah. Like I
And
remembered
so
that as you were saying that.
I feel like what Drum Island does for the Straw Hats catapults them to what they are today, and that's why I think that it should go right below Arlon Park.
I think you're making a very strong argument. I'm gonna give you that. Um, for me, it was either above or below Baratier, so I think you cinched it there. So,
Okay, sweet.
Alabasta. This is the culmination of the Alabasta Baroque Works saga. This is so for me. I'm just gonna skip ahead. I think Alabasta is number one right now.
I agree. I think Alabasta takes the cake.
So
Alabasta is the first instance we see in One Piece of multiple upon multiple arcs coalescing into this big war finale that we see multiple times throughout the series. The first instance of it, Oda definitely hit it out of the park, and he had the secret formula written down from the beginning.
Alabasta has Luffy versus Crocodile, Sanji versus Mister Three, uh, Zoro versus Mister One, Nami versus Miss Doublefinger. You have Usopp with the 5,000 pound drum. You have the first instance of a weapon eating a devil fruit. You have a gun that ate the dog fruit. You have you have everything in Alabasta. You have
You have Vivi's
You have
entire predicament.
Vivi's predicament. You have Luffy punching Vivi. You have the flippin' this is a
I
sign
actually
of
forgot about
friendship.
that.
Uh you have Crocodile's Casino. You have the banana dials. You have
You
Mr. Three with
technically,
the oh, dude. Yes.
sorry to
You're
interject.
good.
I would say besides Town versus Captain Smoker, because I do count that as an L for Luffy. I think Alabasta versus Crocodile is the other first L that Luffy takes.
I I love Alabasta. It's the first time this series ever made me cry. Flippin' that ending scene. You have Miss All Sunday being Nico Robin, where that's her name, and she apparently there's these things called poneglyphs and ancient weapons. I bet that's not gonna have to do anything with the rest of the series. I bet
Yeah, I
that's like
think
a
that's an Alabasta
that's an
exclusive.
Alabasta exclusive thing. Jaya.
Jaya. Okay, this is
I
where it starts getting difficult.
This is where it starts getting difficult. I adore Jaya. I am a big setup guy. A good payoff makes the setup even better. So therefore, like there are times where it's like Doom Part 1 versus Doom Part 2. Like Doom Part 1 perfectly set up Doom Part 2, but like all the sauces in Doom Part 2. But like with Jaya, like all the sauces also in Jaya,
Yes.
you have flippin' Sky Islands, you have Dreams, you have Mocktown, you have Bellamy, you have Luffy's Punch of Bellamy, you have No Land Cricket, you have There Are Dreams, you have the introduction of Blackbeard, you have the introduction of Mary Joie with the replacing the Warlords of the Sea, you have also back in Arlong Park, they mentioned this guy named Jimbei who apparently let Arlong go. I wonder if Jimbei is going to be like a notable character or anything. I don't know anything about him. Um, Jaya is just so peak. I think it's my number three.
I was gonna agree perfectly.
Okay.
I was gonna put Jaya at number 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. We're totally
So
in
what clip
agreement.
we're doing pretty
We're
good.
doing pretty good.
Um, for the next
Guy,
section,
yes, yes.
I just wanna say for anyone who ends up watching, for the love of all that is holy, please do not skip Skypiea.
Skypiea is not skippable in ways that we can't even describe.
I do not care what you have heard. If you have already passed Skypiea and did skip it, go back immediately. Stop wherever you are, unless you're in Water 7 Indies lobby, and go back and watch it. Please.
Skypiea is very important, not only for what it what directly follows up with Skypiea in terms of Nico Robin's character development, but also in terms of every single little thing that could ever possibly be connected to One Piece. It goes through the giant funnel that is Skypiea. Everything coalesces through Skypiea in some way. So Skypiea is Enel. It is Skypiea, the Sky Islands. It is Dials. It is Waivers. It is
Wiper.
Wiper. It is Impact Dials. It is the Arc Maxim. It is Goldie Roger writing on the poneglyph that he is going to take this story to the ends of the earth. It is the revelations about the Rio poneglyph. It is the idea that it is another thing of inherited will. He's inherited Mon Black Nolan's will. It's Nolan and Kagura's backstory. It is peak. I Skypiea is so sick. It just also has like this very stupid trial with this weird bubble guy that sucks because apparently he has this thing called like a voice that he can hear, which I doesn't seem like it's going to come back in the series. It seems like it's a Skypiea exclusive thing.
Yeah, that's another Skype exclusive, just like the weapons. You never
Yeah,
hear them again
you
past
never hear about
Alabasta.
him again. So for me, I'd probably put this at number 4.
I would have to think for a second. I think so Skypiea, like Grant said, is the coalescent point. When you're watching it in the moment, I'm just gonna flat out say it does not feel like that. Skypiea is the first instance we get to where all of the rules we know of the pirating world get turned on its head. We have Sky Islands, we have new technologies, we have different powers,
We
we
don't have
have
the Navy, we don't have warlords, we don't have
completely different society,
humans
civilization, beliefs.
like searching for the One Piece in any way.
there are times where if the Straw Hats weren't there, it would have felt like I was watching a completely different anime. And in hindsight, it's incredible. At the time, it was hard to adjust to. Now, it was completely worth it. I personally, because there were parts, like Grant said, that were genuinely hard to get through, I would also put it at number four.
Possibly I think it actually might be number 6 for me.
I think I would go five. I think I would go five.
Okay. Do you think it's not as good as Baratier?
If we're thinking of big ideas, then
But
it's
execution
not the
of those
same.
ideas.
Execution was kind of bad. That is true. But how heavy do we weigh the execution? I mean, execution is everything, isn't it? Oh, because a lot of people fell off during Skypiea as well. I know it was a drag for me to get through Skypiea. In
6?
fact, dare I say that Skypiea took us the longest, did it not?
Yes. Skypiea was another big thing to get through.
Um, yeah, put it just above Little Garden.
Okay. I can live with that. I feel like that's good.
Trust me, guys, do not skip Skypiea. It is worth the fight.
Okay. Ooh, this is gonna be dicey. Long range, long lane. Okay,
All right, tell us about it, Grant.
that's a lot. Long lane is the introduction, of course, of the most famous pirate, the Foxy Pirates, with the slow fruit. This is the introduction of Davy backfights, another thing Oda has yet to bring back, but I really
Isaac,
hope he
mark this in
does.
your timeline.
Mark this in your timeline, Isaac. The Foxy Pirates will be back. Mark my words. Um, this is the introduction of Aokiji. This is the introduction of something about Nico Robin's backstory with Aokiji. This is the introduction of something about Luffy's grandfather, who we don't know. We've never flipping met the guy. This is the introduction that like we are playing with the big boys because we met an admiral and he absolutely
This is the first time we've met an
no gift
admiral.
us. Like absolutely,
Completely, if he wanted to,
he could have
at this
killed
point in
us.
the story, the Straw Hats could have ended right here. It could have been over.
So it's got Afro Luffy. I mean, that alone, you know what I mean? So I think it goes right below Skypiea.
Okay. That is good with me.
Okay. I love a good I love a good I love a good arc that just kind of says, let's just mess around a little bit. Let's have a little
Let's
bit of
just mess
fun.
around.
Let's just be a chill guy.
We I would say that we have with Long Ring Longland and the introduction of Aokiji, we have met the strongest character to date. Oh my, is it time?
So we're going to talk about these in tandem because in my mind, there's no possible way to separate Water 7 and Enies Lobby.
There's no possible way.
Water 7 and Enies Lobby, to cut to the chase, to do the thing that I said I wasn't going to do, is one arc. So I'm going to move these down. I'm going to move, do my thing. These are one arc. I refuse to separate them. They are my children. I cannot pick a favorite, even though I have a favorite. I'm not.
You
That's a
literally
joke.
cannot have one without the other.
You can't have one without the other. Like they are. It's incomplete. It's not even like a situation of Jaya and Skypiea being married. It's the idea that this is the first half and the second half. It's just one continual story being told in two different locations. That's what it is. Water 7 in Enies Lobby is quite possibly the best that One Piece will ever be, for good reason. You have. Where do I even begin? You have Luffy.
Where do you even begin?
Luffy versus Usopp. Not Robin's betrayal. Usopp leaving the crew. The Going Merry having to be destroyed. You have
Nami in a tie.
Nami in a tie. You have Hattori, Rob Lucci, Kaku, Bluno, You have. I'm just gonna talk about Water Seven right now, and then I'll go to Annie's Lobby. I'll try to talk in
Yep.
chronological order. You have Frankie.
Yep.
You have Iceberg. You have Tomson. You have Cuddy Flam. You have
Tom's workers.
Water Seven. You have what's Iceberg's uh business called? The workers that are the shipwrights.
I know what you mean.
I'm gonna hate
Shoot.
myself for not remembering this right
Hang
now.
on. I might have to. Yeah. Hang on.
Give me a quick Google search. Let me phone a friend on
Yep.
this. Excuse me.
Stand by. Galila.
Galila. I remembered it. Okay,
Galila. You remembered it just in
just
time.
in time. It counts.
Galila.
Um, because I was like, there's got to be a T-shirt that I can remember. Um, so it's insane.
I would
But
say within this arc we have 3 different betrayals.
it's insane what Water Seven's able to accomplish. You have more talk about these things called ancient weapons. I wonder what those are.
The Frankie
The
family.
Frankie family. You have Luffy beating up the Frankie family. You have flipping Frankie's backstory. You have just you have so much.
Yokozuna.
Yokozuna. You have
Chimney,
Chimney
and
and Gombe,
Gombe.
dude. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love Water 7 so much. But Water 7 is inherently incomplete if you leave off at Water 7, which is why Annie's Lobby exists. Annie's Lobby is it is Sogeking. It is it is Luffy and Zoro punching through a hurricane level tidal wave. It is Luffy making his way to the bridge that connects Annie's Lobby to the courthouse to the main holding place for Annie's Lobby.
Which I want to put into perspective. Annie's Lobby is one of the 3 major world strongholds for the world government.
Annie's Lobby, Impel Down, Marineford. And they all form this little triangle that's connected by a major gate that's connected by a whirlpool. I have no idea why. Maybe one day we'll find out. Annie's Lobby is this flipping hole in the ground. That doesn't seem like it's significant. I'm sure it won't come back. Doesn't Oda's one of those one and done kind of authors. He'll just bring up an idea
really
and just
is,
never
yeah.
bring it up again. I It is I Want to Live. It is O'Hara. It is Clover. It is Nico Oliva. It is Jaguar D Sol. It is flippin' dude. It is Gear 2. It is Gear 3. It is Rob Lucci versus Luffy. Uh it is
More Zoans.
it is oh yeah, flippin' Kaku with the draft fruit. You have Chopapa. You have Yoi Yoi. You have flippin' Thunderbolt Tempo, Mirage Tempo. You have Chopper, Monster Ball, Monster Chopper. You have
Is this the first time we see Diaba Jambu?
this is Diablo Jumbo. Yeah, exactly. This is the first time we Frankie becomes a part of the crew, kind of like he becomes like part of the overall gang, like fighting with us.
He becomes part of the crew within the confines of Annie's Lobby.
Any post Annie's Lobby technically.
Oh, okay.
But I have to consider post Annie's Lobby differently because I don't want 3 arcs to make up the number 1 arc.
Right. Fair enough.
Plus, I like post Annie's Lobby enough that I can consider it. So, anyways,
Annie's Lobby carries with it one of the most satisfying and heartbreaking backstories in One Piece.
Yes, most definitely. Rob Lucci's backstory
is an absolute killer, literally.
There's not much more I can. It's got the death of the Going Merry. What else is there to say? It's
not much else, honestly. It re-solidifies the extreme bonds that the Straw Hats share with each other and with every person that touches their lives.
I wish I could have read it for the first time, because watching it for the first time in the anime, it's the first time I really felt the pacing of the anime start to drag was in Annie's Lobby. which is part of the reason why I like Water 7 a little bit more. Like if I had to separate them, the part of the reason why I like Water 7 a little bit more is because Water 7 just had a better pacing than Enies Lobby does. But that is not the fault of Enies Lobby. That is the fault of Toei
That is the
choosing
fault
to
of
make
Toei.
a yearly having a yearly schedule with One Piece.
If you're a manga reader or a manga only, chances are you're probably gonna like Annie's Lobby better
That's a good point.
because the
But
payoff is just
I'm also much
incredible.
more of a setup guy. But at the same time,
Yeah,
I'm choosing to exit out of this debate because they're together and they always should be.
they always should be.
Post Enies Lobby, this is another lore arc. This is another 10 chapters. This is Ace versus Blackbeard. This is the reveal that Luffy's grandfather is Vice Admiral Garp, Garp the dog. This is the reveal that Dr. Vegapunk created like the sea prism stones that are on the bottom of ships. He's able to have flipping Enies Lobby has Funk Freed as well. But that's neither here nor there. Um, the idea that Vegapunk can feed a devil fruit to a weapon, and that weapon can house a Zoan devil fruit. Because Zoans apparently have a will of their own. I'm sure that won't come back into the story at all. Um, I it's got the reveal that not only is it Monkey D. Garp, but it's Monkey D. Dragon. That dragon in Lowtown was Luffy's dad the whole time. It is the reveal that Shanks is one of the four emperors of the sea, along with Whitebeard. Whitebeard also was introduced in Jaya. I should have mentioned that back when I was talking about Jaya. It is the reveal that Blackbeard gave Shanks his scar on the left side of his face, and that scar hurts when he thinks about Blackbeard because Blackbeard flippin' apparently saw him coming, and apparently Shanks's face reminds Whitebeard of this scar that he has on his chest. I'm sure that won't ever come back. Not that I would know. Um, it's so much, and it's crazy, and I love it when Oda just says like, by the way, we've been in this arc for like 3 years or whatever. Here's all the stuff I was preparing for you. Here's a gift, and it's just a bunch of lore. It's just a bunch of like story catch up stuff, and it's amazing. Um, Here's the thing, I'd put this at number 4 personally.
I would agree. Yep, number four.
Okay, and we're back. I
And we're back.
reordered it so that way it looks a bit cleaner. Um, so Thriller Bark. So we've been on a bit of a streak since Jaya. I would personally rate everything from Long Ring Long as an S tier arc in some way, shape, or form. Personally, we'll get to rankings later, but good stuff.
Mm,
But like, it also has Sanji wanting to eat the clear fruit for very gross reasons. It's got Absalom being a disgusting human being for way too long. It's got Gecko Moria existing. It's got Dr.
Dr.
Hogback
Hogback existing.
existing. It's got Monster Luffy. It's got Oars. It's got Kuma. It's got Nothing Happened. It's
It's got
got
Perona.
Perona. It's got the return of Soga King. It's got um what else is there? There's Brooke's backstory with Laboon. It's got Robin using her fleur for wings. It's got Binks
It's got
Sake.
Lola,
It's got
who
Lola.
never comes back.
It's got a lot to it, but it also has some things that definitely weigh it down.
And the bad part is the things that weigh it down are an equal weight to the things that are good.
Yeah, it's got some bad to it.
It really has some things that I just do not care for.
Yes.
Um, and if you remove those things, then it becomes pretty damn close to an S tier arc. But because we have to meet in the middle, I would say I'd put it just above Little Garden.
I was gonna say just below Little Garden, but I will give you that. because it is still like it's still a pretty good One Piece arc.
Once you get towards the climax, everything since pretty much cooks.
Yes.
Which I know isn't a lot saying
Like
given it's the whole
first
arc.
act has some crap. First act has some crap. Second act has some crap. Third act is where they just Oda says, "Okay, we're getting to the point where it needs to be good again." And third act on is just all gas. But it's that first and that second act that just there's some messy stuff in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Whew. Sabaody Archipelago. What is there to say?
Ah,
I love, I
ah.
adore Sabaody Archipelago. You
Oh,
have,
another thing we forgot to mention before we
yes,
move on. Sorry again.
you're good.
Nothing happened in Thriller Bark.
Nothing happened in Thriller Bark. I don't even know why we talked because nothing happened. Um, Rayleigh, Kid, uh, uh, I almost said mid. Law, Urouge, Bonnie, uh,
King
Gang
Beach.
Bedge, uh, flippin' Hawkins, Diaz Drake, uh, who
Scratchman
Scratchman
Apu.
Apu. How could I forget the name Scratchman Apu? Um, you have Zoro almost killing a celestial dragon. Celestial dragons, which like they're terrible, but like also it's a really cool story idea. Um,
We have the return of Kami and Hachi.
Kami, Papagu, Hachi. You have uh you have someone wanting revenge on Sanji, and we're like, oh, who is this? Is this someone from Sanji's past? And then all of a sudden, it's flipping Guy McGee, who like has the face that looks exactly like Sanji's wanted poster. What's his name again? Oh,
Duval.
Duval. Thank you, Duval. I. It's got Rayleigh. It's got Shaki. It's got Kuma separating the pirates. It's got Borsalino. It's got
Another admiral
yeah,
is Borsalino.
yeah. It's got
We have the, I would say, sort of return of A1 Bartholomew Kuma, who
yes,
we didn't mention in Thriller Bark.
yeah.
Um,
There was
who
nothing to
happens to
mention in
be
Thriller Bark.
a nothing happened in Thriller Bark. Who happens to be Kuma, a warlord of the sea,
See,
who is known as the Tyrant because he's a terrible person.
the tyrant, as we all know, certified fact. I believe it.
So I think we need to just mention what exactly goes down in Saba Odi because I have a feeling we're going to rank this one pretty up there. I think, where do you think we should start? Because we've been listing characters up to this point.
Yeah, we've been listing characters and like. So the order of Sabaody is they leave Thriller Bark. All of a sudden, a mermaid. They kill a sea king that ate a mermaid and her pet starfish. They wash up on the boat. It's Kami and Papagu. They have to go rescue this person called Hachin, which is very similar to this character we knew Hachi from Arlong Park, but surely they can't be the same. Even though, flippin', if you read the cover stories from like 5 years ago in the manga, you would know that that is the same Hachi. We go to meet Duval, who they are slave traders. They were trying to capture Kami because apparently mermaids make for good slaves on the black market. And we beat up the slave traders. They have that is Duval and the flying fish riders or whatever. The They lead us to Sanji makes Duval into
A
handsome,
very beautiful
a
person.
very very handsome person that doesn't know how to wink. He leads us to, and Kami leads us to Sabaody Archipelago, which is the last stop, the halfway point between the Grand Line and supposedly where the Laugh Tale is. It is where it is the closest place to Mary Joie, the home of the celestial dragons, the original descendants of the 20 kings that formed the world government. They go to Sabaody Park. They go to Sabaody Park. Kami gets captured. She gets sold on the black market. Attempted to be sold on the black market. Uh, they attempt to buy her, but this guy named Saint Charlos buys Kami for more money than they even have. and Luffy punches that dude in the face. It's like the coolest thing ever. That causes an admiral, Kizaru Borsalino, to be called. But Kuma, for some strange reason, decides to send all of the Straw Hats into separate places using his Paw Paw fruit powers. And this is the ultimate breakdown of the Straw Hat crew. Like, we met an admiral. Luffy's telling them to run as fast as possible because they're not ready for whatever the new world, the second half of the Grand Line, has in store for them. So he's like, guys, survive no matter what. But the problem is that, like, they're separated now. So that is
They're
how.
they to Luffy's knowledge, they do not survive. He does
Yes.
not know what happens because Kuma literally sends them all away.
Yes.
This is the Straw Hats'
The breakdown.
first realization that they cannot win. They can progress no further if they continue as they are.
Yes.
Another one of the rare L's that the Straw Hats take. Other things I want to mention, that the environment of Sabaody is really cool. There are bubbles that float around everywhere. It's nice and pretty. Um, is this the first instance we see? When does You might have to cut this part out. When do we see Shanks and Whitebeard? Did we mention that?
Post Enies lobby.
Okay. I want to say that this is the first instance the Straw Hats get of hockey. Something
Yeah. Post Enies
the
lobby.
viewers
Post Enies lobby. They mentioned something about hockey. Someone named Marco mentions like, "Oh, that guy's Shanks's hockey is really powerful." We had no idea what it meant, and then all of a sudden, this old guy in this cage that ends up being Silver's Rayleigh, the Dark King, the right hand of the Pirate King, Silver's Rayleigh. Um, Apparently he knocked some people out, and this giant that was in the that was chained up with him was like, "That's some powerful hockey you have there." And so that's the first time we've ever heard of this thing called hockey. I don't know what it is, so
you defeated a bunch of people without touching them,
yeah,
and as a viewer first time, it was literally unheard of.
yeah.
So it was pretty cool. Um, I think
So
I think that's just
is it ranked?
there. I think it ranks. I would put Sabaody above Jaya.
Personally put it probably above Post Denny's lobby.
Okay, let's send it because Sabaody is it's a heavy hitter,
It is an
as they would
incredibly
say.
heavy hitter.
We, as a viewer who is also on the Straw Hat crew, when we reach Sabaody, we are outclassed. There is nothing we can do here. And it's really cool to see, actually.
Amazon Lily.
Depending on what kind of person you are, you'll like it a lot. I think it's pretty neat.
I think
Um,
that it is certainly an arc that is important for Luffy's development, and it's another setup arc, but I'd say it's a weaker setup arc than other setup arcs.
I would dare I say it would be the weakest setup arc in that regard.
I'd say it's probably like there's not much to say about it. It's just Luffy goes to an
Remind me,
island of
remind me
women.
what happens in it. Yeah, let's.
Okay,
What happens in
Luffy
Amazon?
lands on an island of warrior women, where there's only women on the population, and every time a woman gives birth, they only give birth to women, and they uh it's an island that exists in the calm belt, so like, and the calm belt separates the Grand Line from the rest of the ocean. So the calm belt is where there's no wind, there's no current, there's no sea, and there's just a bunch of sea kings there. And in the middle of that calm belt is Amazon Lily. And so that is where Boa Hancock, warlord of the sea, one of the last warlords of the sea that we need to meet and be introduced to, is from. And basically, Luffy proves himself as a man that is honorable and kind hearted, and basically wins over this kingdom, and they agree to help him. And he finds out that Ace, his brother, is about to be executed. That's why his Vivre card that we found at the end of Thriller Bark, that we found out that it's a Vivre card in Thriller Bark, That's why it's starting to burn up. So now Luffy needs to go to Impel Down, the prison, and break out his brother. Uh, so that is Amazon Lily. I would rate it personally either right above or right below Orangetown.
Mm, I would say it's above Orange Town because it is cool seeing all the things that's happening. Luffy officially gets to see hockey work even more. Um, Bill Hancock's really cool. Um, do we also get her backstory in Amazon Lily?
Yes, we do. That is a very
So
good
that's
backstory.
a pretty good one. So yeah, I would rank it above Orange Town.
Okay, fair enough. Um,
All right,
all right. So Impel Down. So would you like to lead
another
us off?
certified banger.
Certified banger, dude. I love Impel Down. Even though it
So
has Sadie, who is quite possibly the worst character ever invented. Um,
if you know, you know.
if you know, you know.
So
Um, would you like to lead
my
us off
two
on what is the reason why we love Impel Down so much, Duro?
The reason why we love Impel Down is because we meet so many characters who, surprise, surprise, turns out Oda does bring things back. We meet so many characters that we previously met in the series that we never thought would make a resurgence. That turns out all of them are at Impel Down, and it's a great time. We have people like Mr. Two Bon Clay Sama. We have Mr. Three. We have Captain Buggy. We have Crocodile. We have I believe Jimbei is here, right?
Jim, this is the introduction of Jimbei, the last
We have
warlord that
the
we need to meet.
introduction of Jimbei. We are here to save Ace. What else? Boa Hancock comes here with us. What else do we have? We have Magellan, who, by the way, is another person that Luffy officially lost to. We did not beat Magellan, spoiler alert. We meet Ivankov. We there's so many people here that it kind of you don't expect it. We're here to save Ace, and we meet everyone, and it's
Blackbeard shows up.
fantastic. Blackbeard shows up. We did not expect Blackbeard to show up. We are literally raiding the second of the three Navy strongholds, trying to get our brother back, and we are getting help from people who were previously our enemies because they want to leave too.
That moment, a realization where
Pirates together strong.
Ivankov, who is a part of the Revolutionary Army, who Luffy's dad and Ace's dad are in charge of the Revolutionary Army. So Ivankov realizes the importance of rescuing Ace, and he's like, "Flipping, okay, I will help you, Luffy." Like that is so sick, dude.
We have Gambare Mugiwara.
Gamba
We
Ray.
have Hisashiburi Dana Mugiwara. There's so many good moments.
It's somehow a great payoff arc for everything that One Piece has been so far, but it's also a perfect setup arc for the next arc that we will probably have some words to say about because I wonder what we're gonna decide on the ranking for the Marineford. But first, we have to rank Impel Down. So
I think
where are you putting
personally,
this? Where are you putting this?
I'm putting Impel Down above Alabasta.
Whoa. Okay.
You know I love my Impel
I
Down.
know you love your Impel Down. I would say
From Go ahead.
I would say that Alabasta is strong as a coalescing arc, where everything that happened in that saga coalesces into the fight that is the Alabasta, that is the culminating moment of the Alabasta saga in the Alabasta arc. Impel Down inherently can't be that because it has to be the middle chapter where Sabaody began, Marineford will finish, Impel Down has to continue and accelerate. And it does an excellent job at all of that because of what it's utilizing from what came before and pushing into what is going to be.
Also the first sorry to interject,
You're
also
good.
the first time we see something called awakened Zoan fruit.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Wonder what that
is,
is.
so it's interesting.
As far as we know, they're just mindless monsters.
Really, for me, it's above or below Alabasta. How much do you want to fight for above Alabasta?
I want to fight for above Alabasta simply because we get a different side. We get Luffy without the Straw Hats. We get Luffy making new allies, meeting old enemies. We have those old enemies, some becoming friendly, some also wanting to kill Luffy. Luffy is very desperate throughout this entire arc, kind of in a state we haven't really seen him before because he really does not want to lose Ace. Ace is one of the few family members he has. I really like it because it's quite we I'm getting ahead of myself. We see a different side to a lot of characters that we previously thought we were never going to see again. Um, that in being that Buggy, for example, Mr. Three, for example, sort of Bon Clay, but not really because he wanted to be our friend after Alabasta. Um, Crocodile even cooperates. We get to see them work with Luffy in a way that we never expected because we thought that they would just be villains. And it gives such a big, not turnaround, but extra piece of the puzzle to how deep some of these characters can go. And it's not just that they're villains, it's that they're also people with goals. Gonna speak about Blackbeard here because he also shows up. He once said to, was it to Luffy or who was it to? It might have been to Bellamy, I can't remember, but he said, uh, what exactly were the words? He was talking
Man's
about
dream never
dreams.
dies.
A man's dream never dies. It really impelled down right there. Impel Down really shows us that all of these people are not here just to stop the Straw Hats. They are here to do something in the world that is One Piece that they can make their own. And I really, really like that.
It's just what you just said. So
It is a culmination of characters coming together for a common goal. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I hope that you will listen to me whenever I do the same. Try to make an argument for Marineford. Um,
Let's do it.
so Marineford is quite possibly Water Seven Days Lobby is my favorite, but Marineford might also be my favorite. I adore Marineford. It is 57 chapters, but it is 57 chapters that is just the ultimate push at everything that's been culminating for the entirety of all of that. All of that led up to one single arc being Marineford, and it's amazing. It is Marineford is it starts out with the reveal that Portgas D. Ace's father is the king of the pirates, Gold D. Roger. To this day, not a single reveal in One Piece has gotten me like that did. I legitimately gasped out loud whenever that was shown off on screen watching it. I was so shocked. It was so unexpected. I loved it. That is, and so that completely recontextualizes everything about like where the series has gone up to this point, and also the moment, the reason why they're executing Ace. Um, they're trying to make a grand statement right now, and they're betting big that the Whitebeard pirates that they can take them on. And you have the Whitebeard pirates, you have Marco, you have Whitebeard, you have his entire grand fleet, you have the Moby Dick, his ship, you have Little Oars Jr., you have Don Quixote Doflamingo's speech. You have all the seven warlords of the sea gathering there and
Gathering
fighting.
there.
You have the entire like the first act, which is like them initially fighting. Then you have Luffy showing up in the middle of it with everyone from Impel Down, and they're fighting. And then you have the finale. And the finale is just, it's so good. It's like the best lore arc in the world is that finale. You have Ace finally getting free, sacrificing himself for Luffy. uh, Sakazuki, aka Kainu, fighting Whitebeard, taking off half of his face. You have
Blackbeard.
Whitebeard's the One Piece's real speech. You have Whitebeard being literally the best fictional father in
Of all
all
time.
of One Piece. And I still say, like, no spoilers, but like I still hold to that, even though there is a close second that was just revealed recently in most recent arc. But I still hold that Whitebeard is the best dad. Um, I I flip in. It's You have Blackbeard Blackbeard having two devil fruits, not only having the darkest
Unheard
fruit,
of.
but also uh stealing Whitebeard's fruit, the trimmer fruit. You
People
have
say it wasn't possible.
you have Whitebeard saying the One Piece is real while also revealing that he's never once had he has all these scars on the front of his body, but then you look at his back and it's completely unscathed because no, he never ran away from a single fight ever, the world's strongest man. Like, it's
Some things.
wonderful. I You have Jinbei basically being
Jimbei.
Luffy's best friend for an entire arc, and it's the best. I love Jinbei so much. Jinbei is my favorite side character in all of One Piece. Um, I Here's my thing. I want to put this at number 2 right now.
You know what? You won me over because there's something else that I want to mention.
Okay.
If I can put into perspective some of the Oda has a grand plan. If you don't know it now, you will know it later. I'm going to cut ahead just a little bit. In Thriller Bark, Zoro fought this guy. His name's Ryuma. Looked oddly like a samurai. Said he was from the land of Wano. Legendary swordsman. We have no idea who this guy is. Zoro beats him, gets a sword. It is what it is. The Whitebeard pirates show up in Marineford. Whitebeard has a commodore of one of his ships named Izo. Izo is also dressed in a classic Japanese yukata. I remember when I watched this for the first time, I said, "Who is that guy? He looks kind of like Ryuma did. Is he from that land they said Wano? Is that like a land of samurai?" Uh, Grant was watching along with me. He had no idea. It was just a cool thought. We also hear through a little birdie while the Summer War is going on that Shanks is attempting to stop this pirate called Kaido. Don't know who this guy is. Was it revealed that he's an emperor of the sea? We have two emperors clashing. Kaido himself trying to capitalize on the Summit War to theoretically defeat all of his opponents in one fell swoop. He was going to literally third party them. Shanks said, "Nah,
Apex Legends?
we gotta let the world play out." We'll learn a little bit about Kaido later, and a little bit about Izo later, but it's just things that you literally don't see coming. Marineford at number 2.
Marineford is an arc that can only be made if you have 13 years of setup behind it. Because everything comes to bear in one way or another in the arc that is Marineford. It feels like the culmination. If One Piece were to end right there, you'd be like, A, unsatisfying, but B, what a flippin' ending. Like, that's how can you, like, you must have ended at the best you could ever make it. It's just so spectacular and,
With
uh, man,
with Marine's for
Marineford.
with Marine Ford's place in the entirety of the story, I will have to say that Oda does a absolutely phenomenal job of reminding the reader watcher that the Straw Hats are not the only people traveling the Grand Line. Each and every single one of these characters has had their complete own adventure on the Grand Line and off the Grand Line. And these stories, these narratives with all of these characters are constantly clashing with one another in the best way possible. Worlds are literally colliding all the time in One Piece.
So, Marineford number 2. Post
Marine
war.
for number 2.
It's alright. It's a it's
That's all right.
it's a B. I'd say it's just below Amazon Lily or Logtown.
I'd give it a mediocre lore arc out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
So, where's it going though? We'll talk about it later, but where's it going first?
You said right below Amazon Lily.
Right here or right
I'm
here?
I'm putting it above.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. So, what is post war all about? Post war is what happens when you can't just skip to the time skip. You have to set up the time skip real quick. So Oda says, we're going to give you a backstory that explains a bit more about Ace's character, that explains Luffy and Ace's relationship in the past, and one that also introduces another character that I'm sure will have no bearing or significance in the future, and that is Sabo, voiced by Naruto.
I didn't even remember that guy.
Yeah, I don't even know who that guy is. I It also has the idea that they're not the Straw Hats aren't going to be meeting together in 3 days. They're going to take the 2 years to do it, have a time skip, and to train and to prepare for the new world, the second half of the Grand Line.
Thanks to Kuma.
And thanks to Kuma, for some reason, um, I it's aight. Like, you got a cool story about the Goa Kingdom. You have a cool character in Sabo. It's a shame that he died. I mean, doesn't seem like, Oda with his keeping characters dead thing. I mean, that's like, it's like a
That's
major
wild.
thing.
We also get to
Um,
see that Luffy originally was absolutely terrible at using his fruit.
yeah, that's a good point. We never really saw, like, Luffy wasn't, it's not a guarantee that Luffy would have done as good as he did had he not worked at making his fruit good. So,
It's the first instance we see it's that the person makes the power in the sense that the person behind the fruit could be really bad at using the fruit, so it can make the fruit seem bad.
so yeah, so that's post war. Um, so we're gonna
Right.
take a break. We're gonna get to all of this on the second half because we're gonna have a lot to talk about in filling
Yeah,
out
the rest
these
of it's pretty heavy.
next 10. Let me see if this is
We are
10.
hitting
1,
post
2,
time
3,
skip.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 30 and 31. Wait, yeah, 9 and then 10. Yeah, okay.
Math.
Math. Okay, so that's where the time skip is. So we will hit this up next time. Thank you very much for watching.
Peace.